Following is a 24 Hours podcast.
My name is Tibor Farkas. We developed a company called Theta Effect. We specialize in prosthetics and character creature design. Theta Effect stands for an alternate dream state consciousness. It's a wavelength, and we felt that was kind of suiting for what we do. I grew up in the business. My father had one of the pioneering shops out here, E.T. & Co. back in the the late 70s, early 80s and 90s.
Basically, we do these on our own time. So we'll get a script and then we'll build one of these, at our own cost. And then after that, it's just sort of try to get the show. We'll do this as well. We'll do Photoshop designs and as well as drawings, and depending on how big the show. And that's sort of in an effort to show our skill. When it's in 3D, a certain design will be approved. And then once the director or producer sees it in 3D, it's like, well, you know what? Now that I see it, how about this way?
We made 6 masks for a famous horror movie villain. They were just latex pullover masks. They were great though. They looked great. Production was happy with them and everything. A lot of times we'll make prosthetics, 7-piece prosthetics to go on an actor. And we worked with a few actors like Charlie Sheen and Catherine O'Hara. Sean's worked with Elijah Wood.
Basically, 12,000 years ago, there was a dwarf species, and they call them hobbits as a nickname in the scientific community. But this dwarf species called Homo florensis lived on the island and hunted animals with spears, made fire and everything. But they were only a meter tall. So I sort of had the idea. I made sort of like features that give it character. Like I made a large brow ridge and a very square jaw, and I tried to sort of bring out some features and make it look sort of like a little dwarf type character. I was working for one of the main shops in town several years ago and doing conceptual design, and Tibor came in. He was looking to pick up materials, and at the front of the shop at the time, they had a store where they sold product and all that. And I ended up talking to him for a couple hours. And a few years later, when I had left that shop and moved on to another one, he was working at that shop, and we just started hanging out. And he built a shop in his basement, and we started hanging out in our own time, making our own stuff. And over time, that sort of developed. Lost contact for a couple of years, regrouped, and he had another shop set up at another place, and we just kept going from there.
Our plan for right now is to stay in Vancouver. We want to make sure we establish ourselves really well out here. It's home. My father had his company out here. I would like to kind of reestablish those kind of roots of it, and of course with Sean and everything. And once we've established ourselves enough, then we could branch off nationally, internationally. I know Sean and myself, we both have goals of making our own films more than anything, more than doing prosthetics. This is it's kind of like a foot in the door for us as a more of a conceptual design company, and getting our name out there that way. And then once we learn about more people in the industry, once we network a little more, we both have goals and aspirations to do a little bit more than just prosthetics.
Vancouver.24hours.ca